All right, we're back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. My name is Jonathon Howe. That is the Beef, Corby Daniels. Beef, how's it going, brother?
It's going good, buddy. Just ready to get into her here and talk some more racing.
Yeah, it was a busy one. Once again, this weekend. We'll start with Osh weekend. Were you there on Friday night, or did you have that one off?
I was not. I'm actually. I mean, a lot of people know by now, but I'm actually stepping back from working on race cars a little bit, and just doing some other things in life, and but still gonna be here talking about it every week, and still enjoy watching, still enjoy everything about the sport. Just moving on a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I mean, you got your brother Liam on the 71 team, but now you know what? You're a little bit further away from these 71 teams, so you can be a little more critical too, which is always nice. Not that you need to be, but hey, every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the 71 bunch, we saw the 71 sprint car a couple of times. The Southern Ontario sprints were back at Maryville. But first, the 360s, they raced at Oshwegan Speedway. Won by our pal, Nicky Sheridan, gets a
Yep.
win. Technically a second win on the year at Oshwegan, but first that counts towards the point standings. Beating Ryan Turner, Darren Dryden, Bowman, Corey Turner, ran out your top five in that one. Beef, what about our boy?
Yeah. Nick, obviously fast. You know, I said that the first couple episodes of this season that you got to watch out for the 45. He was hell on wheels fast at the Nationals at the end of the year last year, and he's just continuing that speed, showing us that he deserves to be up front. Um, One guy that was not mentioned in that top five, guy that's been winning all the time, Dylan Westbrook. Now, I heard through the grapevine that it was maybe some motor issues, maybe some ignition wires, not 100% sure. But they got something fixed. He went back out, and then the front wing collapsed.
Hmm.
So it's just a bad night for the 47X, but see if he can rebound this week.
Yeah, a tough break for Westbrook. I mean, he finished second in his heat, so it's not like the speed wasn't there in general, but obviously some kind of mechanical issues that rendered him back to 14th, which arguably is a better thing for all of us because we want a points battle at Oshwegan in the 360s, and I think Ryan Turner's plenty capable of bringing that fight to him. Mike Bowman obviously can bring that fight to him, and now Nicky Sheridan with another win under his belt. He's got a lot of confidence moving forward, and that's going to be really good for the show at Oshwegan, I think, anyways. Nice to see Jesse Costa back in victory lane. Started from pole in the sprint in the crate sprints, beats Jacob Dykstra, who started second. Austin Rose, Larry Gledhill, Lance Erskine round out your top five there. What do you make of that 52 car back in victory lane?
Yeah, I mean, a matter of time. You know, Jesse's always been fast, and it was definitely a little out of character to see him the first little bit of this year not be up there running in the top five consistently. So good to see Jesse get back there, and you know, my pick, my boy Lance Erskine, another top five after the win last week. So I excited to see what Lance can do the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, and how about a 28 car field for the crate sprints too? That class is healthy as heck, and it's so awesome to see.
Yes, for sure.
Over in the Thunderstocks now, Dave Bailey picks up yet another win. Started 11th, drove up to the lead, beats Beagle, but the big dog started 20th.
Yeah.
Went 20th to second, man. That is awesome. Unbelievable stuff there. Kyle Wirt, another one we got to give a call to, started 17th, drove up to third. Trevor DeBoer, 18th, started and finished fourth. Rob Hoskins goes 7th to 5th to round out your top five in the Thunderstocks.
Yeah, I mean it's more of what we've always talked about. It's the Dave and Ryan show, you know, in the street stocks or Thunder stocks. Sorry, I mean, but anywhere you go where that classic car runs, it seems like those two are up at the front. So you know, hell of a run from Ryan, just one spot short, but I think you know we're setting up for another classic 49 versus 84 title battle.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get into this a little bit later on in the show, but what do you make of Beagle starting 20th, man? Like that's a lot of handicapping. I mean, I know we're
Yeah,
going to have that conversation a little bit later on, but that's pretty
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, this is we're gonna have a conversation about it later, but this is where I think you know the handicapping can really hurt guys. Like Ryan definitely doesn't have 20th starting position speed. He has top 10, top five weekly speed to start up front. So, Ryan having to battle his way through, but I mean, it also puts on an exciting show for the fans. So, but we're going to debate it here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that coming up after we run through some more results. We'll round out Schweeken with the mini stocks. Jason Tolton gets the win over Jillian Hills, Bill Purcell, Jeremy Cooper, Alex Riley round out your top five in that one. Bit of a different story where the guys that started, or a couple of the drivers that started up towards the front, basically stuck around the front, and it was a little bit harder to drive up through the field in the mini stocks in there. Again, 28 car field.
Yeah, mini stocks. I know Sweden have always been a strong class. Good to see the numbers up there for that class, and yeah, it's just it's more the mini stocks. They can put on a great show by being able to run 3-4 wide all the time and have those big battles for the lead. So yeah, excited to see how the mini stock championship shapes up here coming towards the mid season.
Yeah, and we'll shift gears over to Ransomville and just briefly touch on the sportsman and the modifieds there. Derek Wagner wins the sportsman race, but I did want to give a shout out to a couple of our guys, Canadian guys, going over there and running. Nigel Pendakoski was with the boys, as was Jacob Chevalier. Chris Hawkins as well has been over there, and they all got into that main show and had themselves a bit of a different look on the racetrack in terms of trying out a different facility. And ultimately, that's the stuff that's going to make these guys better and stronger, more lap times against more competition. And they're going to need it if they're going to take that fight to Cody McPherson.
Yeah, for sure. You love to see those guys, those young guys like Nigel and Chevalier go over there, get the laps at a different facility than what they're normally running on Saturday nights at Maryville. Uh, Try it out, see what happens, and the more lap times or more laps in the seat you can get, the better.
Yeah, I should mention also in the novice sportsman division, you had Matthew Jessam get over there and get some laps in that as well in his ride. Madison Rouse also participated in the novice sportsman division, and Cameron Ohm, who we typically see Saturday nights in a mini stock, jumped in as sportsman to be a part of the novice sportsman on Friday night at Ransomville. Talk about seat time. That's another valuable series and a valuable thing that's just right across the border for a lot of our Saturday night regulars to go and get some more laps in at a different facility. And, more seat time, like you say, Beef, is the ultimate. More seat time is going to be required for anybody to knock off Matt Williamson. He is dominating that class on Friday nights in the 358 modifieds. Wins it again ahead of Eric Rudolph, Nelson Mason, Ryan Susi, and Kyle Rickner round out your top five in that one. Nelson Mason, though, you got to watch for him. He is knocking on the door of something really special, I think, at Ransomville. For whatever reason, he's got that track dialed in right now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the 35's got speed over at Ransomville. Uh, uh, it's just a matter of time. It's like you said, logging the laps. He's still fairly new, not new to racing, but new to racing on dirt. I believe this is maybe his third or fourth season. So, to be up there running against them guys and having good finishes, shows that he's putting in the time and starting to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking ahead now at the Merrittville Saturday night show here, let's dive into the Southern Ontario Sprints first. They came back and got a great start to their season earlier in the year at Maryville. And again, I thought they show for the Gary Cunningham was a little bit better. I thought uh, the racing was pretty decent through the middle of the pack. Out front, clean air made all the difference, unfortunately, but it was still a good show. You were there as a spectator on Saturday night. What did you make of the sprints from your vantage point?
Another classic Maryville sprint car show. It was slick, which these guys somewhat used to at Australia, but Maryville slick is a whole different thing. So that I mean, not to call him out or anything, but Mike goes in hot laps. It gets a little hot in 3 and 4. Puts her in the plastic safety barriers off of 4.
Yep.
Just showed me that it was getting slicker faster than these guys were anticipating. At least even in hot laps. So, but from there, the heat races, very good racing. You get to the feature, like you said, that mid pack racing was very good. in the end, it was clean air that bit Mike, and Matt Farnham had the clean air, got that 7NY way out front, and there was no turning back for him. But good to see Matt get a good run. He's definitely been pretty good at Streaking, but I wouldn't say he's been the Matt Farnham of past, and running consistently top five all the time.
No, and I think that this is one of those things that could be a big confidence boost. It seems like in general, him and Todd Hoddick, in terms of those Western New York invaders that we see on the Southern Ontario Sprints and at Oshweekend sometimes, it feels like they've turned a corner in the last start to the 2025 season. Even the end of 2024, they were pretty strong,
Mm-hmm.
and it just seems like that they've figured something out there. And of course, Matt gets the win. Um, Ahead of Bowman, ahead of Bailey Hurd, another top
Yeah,
five for Bailey. He just loves Maryville, man. That
yeah.
70 team and that driver, they've just got that place dialed in. Back to back podium finishes now at Maryville for that team. Josh Hansen, Darren Dryden. I wanted to make, you know what? Maybe I'll see if I can pull this up. Do you want to try to maybe break down DJ Christie's absolute send of a move?
Yeah. I mean, I I I don't know why you throw that with 7 to go. To be honest.
Well, let's see if we can. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. It was pretty unbelievable to say the least that
Yeah.
how that played out. I'm not sure. I think Joe's got this SOS race up on his YouTube channel. I know Joe is working on getting the audio for the broadcasts. I don't think he was successful with that this week, but I think he's got something else he wants to try this week. For so hopefully we'll be able to get my play-by-play on these videos going forward. And I'm gonna see if I can fast forward to, like you say, 7 to go and see
I
if I
believe
can
it was
grab.
7 to go. It was either 7 or 9, something like that.
Let's see where are we at here. All right, I'm gonna bring this up now and we'll watch this because he's trying to set up Mike in the where I've caught the freeze frame. So let's get the let me get the screen share set up here for you. Let's do that. Do one of these. And you got that okay on your side, right,
Yep.
Beef? All right,
Yep.
let's
I
fire
see
this
it.
thing. So we
Here they
got
come.
DJ up there coming down the back straightaway, and I think is it right here? Oh yeah, that's it right
Yeah.
there. Huge slider thrown on lap 16, coming to 17,
Yeah.
and ends up in a caution here. One more time, let me back this up a bit. Let's see what we're seeing here.
So I just want to preface by saying the big thing in sprint car racing is to go where the other guy is not. So DJ throws it in here on the bottom to try and not run the line that Mike is running and get some more clean air. But it just was too much of a full send move. He went in too hot, which I'm sure he knows, and just yeah, like there Maribel is there. There's no cushion at Maribel.
No.
There's nothing to save you when you get if this was a Australian with a bit of a curve and he throws this, he rides up, hits that top side, and takes off again. Maribel, you're just gonna keep sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding until you hit the wall.
And the one thing I will say too about the Maryville track this particular weekend, I went and did a track walk because we noticed a couple of guys kind of having issues in 3 and 4, and even on my walk across from the pits to the front stretch, it seemed like there was more of a drop off, more of a lip than there usually is, in terms of where that outside groove ends. And I almost wonder if that tripped up a few guys where they were trying to lean on it and expect there to be not a cushion necessarily, but maybe at least some flat, where instead they got a drop off this week. Um, it was just an interesting thing that I've either maybe never noticed about the racetrack, but in particular this particular week it was extra bad. And I gotta say, well, I'm up in the tower. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing DJ getting ready to make this move, and right here I'm like, well, the bottom's open. I'm sure he'll just try to get
Yeah,
alongside. I don't think he's going to try to like throw a massive haymaker by any kind of a stretch of the imagination. And man, oh man, was I screaming right about there. I wanted it to work so bad just because I love DJ's commitment. Like if there's one thing to be said about DJ Christie is that guy has no fear. He and Liam Martin to me are the two drivers that I would say have like the least amount of fear behind the wheel of a sprint car. And sometimes that gets them in trouble. but at the same time, it also makes them two of the most exciting drivers to watch in 360 sprint car racing around here.
Yeah.
And man, it's like it's so close. Like if he can just get a little bit of bite, maybe even get off the throttle, like here, I don't know what he's got to do to get it. It feels like probably here is too far gone, but
Yeah.
man, it's so close. Like if he had pulled that off, that would have been like the move of the year. It would have been like the send of the year for sure. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like I think probably the most exciting at least moment for me up in the tower in terms of calling that Southern Ontario Sprints race. That was awesome to
Uh,
see. So I know it didn't work out for you, DJ, and I think he had a mechanical issue or something afterwards after that because he didn't end up finishing. I don't think,
yeah.
but yeah, that was awesome. So uh, recalculate that thing, brother, and DJ, just keep making moves like that because that's awesome, and you obviously get people's attention when you do stuff like that. So that was the Southern Ontario Sprints. Anything else to say about that one?
I don't think so. Nope. I was
Uh,
pretty good.
I did want to point out. I sent a little message here. I don't know if it's gonna might be might be cutting into Sopranos time, so I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it from him. But did with it being the Gary Cunningham Memorial. I thought, oh, maybe we should try to get Travis on here, and maybe I can squeeze him in before we get this podcast out. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Travis did announce to the crowd on the front stretch in his typical speech that he does, thanking Maryville fans and the Maryville staff and everybody for putting on the event, that this would be the last Gary Cunningham Memorial. So it's a great event that I hope the Southern Ontario Sprints finds a way to keep on the calendar in some fashion or another. It just won't be with the Cunningham name attached to it. But I think Travis is enjoying being a dad. He's enjoying the part-time schedule, run when he feels like running kind of schedule for him.
Yeah.
I know the race didn't go the way he wanted it to on Saturday from a driver's seat standpoint, but I think he's pretty content with the way things are going in life for that guy, and I don't blame him because he's got a nice little family setup going, and I can respect that one. So we'll
Uh,
try to get Travis on down the line for sure in terms of chatting on the podcast again. I think he secretly misses it. He won't say that to you because he like said he only likes the drama free life of not being a podcast host anymore.
yeah.
But I think he misses it a little bit. So, and we definitely miss him sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go on to the rest of Saturday night at Merrittville Speedway. It was Scott Wood breaking through in the modifieds for a win. So now we do have our, I think that's 8 different winners in 9 races this
Pay
year.
me out, Jonathan. Pay me
I
out.
know you hit the over, buddy. You
Yeah.
called it.
Yeah.
I I really didn't know if we were gonna get to 8, but man, that just goes to show how deep this field is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but it's also gonna, what we're gonna discuss later on here. I think is playing a hand in this being a 8 different winner season so far.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a conversation about that, but for now, I mean, focusing on Scott Wood, pretty emotional one for him. I believe this was his first win since his mother had passed, which
Oh, really?
somebody pointed out. We were talking about how why Freddie's win was so emotional, and we did get a comment on YouTube a couple weeks back that I believe it was Freddie's first win since his mother had passed as well.
Okay.
So that explained the emotion. And again, Scott Wood, another one that he definitely had some emotion about that one. So it was a special victory lane for him, special win. And you know what? A great looking ride deserves to be in
Yeah.
victory lane, and he's got some fresh
Fresh,
colors on that.
fresh looking wrap. Yeah, yeah. I was honestly, I was not sure who it was at first. To be honest with you, I had to look at my race pass and be like, "Is that Scott?" So car looked sharp, and yeah, he had the speed to keep it out front and click off the victory.
Yeah, Luke Carlton brings it home second. Gary Lindbergh fought his way up to third. Probably could have been a factor if it was a 50 lapper instead of a 35 lapper like he won a couple weeks ago. Shane Pierce, Nelson Mason round out your top 5 there. Another great run for Shane and another great run for Nelson. There, 2 more guys stringing together some solid top 5 efforts in the modifieds.
Yeah, definitely. They're both having pretty decent years so far, and yeah, it's the field at Maryville is very deep. Like the guys that are running have been running for a long time or just are good. Like it is a it's a good race every week, really.
Yeah.
Like there's not really hasn't been a bad race. So definitely looking forward to watching some more.
Yeah, looking forward to how the modifieds play out the rest of the season. Now, I wanted to move on to the Rona Deutsch Mod Lights. RJ Pitts, Josh
Yeah,
Slider, Tyler Winger, Brent Bigelow, Sean Slider, your top five on Saturday night. But RJ back in victory lane. I believe that was his first win of the season for the
yeah.
Mod Lights.
Yeah, RJ ran a great race. It was a tight one at the front. I thought Josh was gonna have it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, RJ just kept his line smooth, kept running the same line, almost a little bit of a slider line to kind of try and block Josh again to slip up a little bit. So yeah, but always cool to see RJ win, and I know he sports the Dirt Beer sticker on the car, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing too with RJ is he was pretty wore out. That was a tough race, a
Yeah,
hot night of racing as well on a Saturday night. I know it was a short one, but he was still pretty worn out even when he got back to victory lane after the modified feature because we've been breaking up the victory lanes a little bit, which is making the shows go pretty smooth and
yeah,
pretty fast, honestly, at Maryville doing it that way. So that's been cool. Um, but I thought Tyler Winger had it in the bag when he got out in front early. I was like, oh, here we go. Tyler's going to string another one together, keep stretching out the point lead. Things good things for the four car, and he just kind of faded back to RJ and Josh and Brent. And I mean, truly at one point, that was the cream of the crop of the series. In the division all together racing against each other. And I mean, when you look at the front four finishers, that probably is the very best that we have to offer locally, except for when maybe Joe Isabel comes and races out of the Western New York or out of Central New York, and then comes and races with us, right? So
yeah,
good stuff from the Mod Lights. Moving on to the Hoosier Stocks, Dave Bailey picks up win number 5 on the season ahead of Mark Fawcett, Jason Fontaine, Dustin Duga, George Grossel. Shout out to Duga and Grossel taking advantage of the fact that they were able to get up there in the top 5. Some issues for guys like Zach Bleach and Rob Murray that kept them from being towards the front of the field. Even Kyle Pelrine, dropped back a little bit there, and Duga and Grossel were able to hold Pelrine off. So, but what can you say about Bailey? I mean, guy is he's just so good, man.
that's yeah. I was say not much more you can say that we haven't said already. So, yeah, but awesome race. You know, the hard racing side by side between him and Jason Fontaine for a
Mm-hmm.
while, and them with Mark Fawcett up there as well. So, always good to watch the street stocks at Maryville. It's definitely sometimes one of the best races of the night.
For sure. I think the fact that they can lean on each other and get as close as they do helps out. And same can be said for the four cylinders, although nobody was touching Syracuse on Saturday night. The bug is back in victory lane. Syracuse gets the win ahead of Alex Riley, Mason Anderson, Josh Demetro, and Hannah Rothwell round out your top 5 there. We've seen that bug be competitive in the past, and Sierra just was able to keep it out front and keep it clean. And I think there was a race that was mostly caution free. I think there was
Yeah,
maybe one late and one early, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they had
yeah,
like maybe 13. Actually, I think that was might have even been a 20 lap feature because I think it was the duel on the dirt for them. So
yeah.
they kept it fairly clean. That was a division, and fans were rewarded. It was another great race from them.
Yeah, for sure. That bug was fast, and there was really nobody that was able to keep up or catch her even in lap traffic. Like she was flying. So, congratulations to her, and
Mhm.
hopefully they can get her brother up to speed as well and see both bugs at the front.
Yeah, I mean, Braden was up there for a while. I think he led early, started from the pole alongside Connor Chambers, but it was Syracuse getting around Braden early in that one, and that was really the difference out front. Once you got out front, it stayed clean and green, and that was that, man. It was nice to see, and that wraps up your local results here. So. Just a couple of extra topics that we want to get into, Beef. I've been talking a lot about the whole handicapping situation. Let's dive into that first here. The reason I wanted to bring this up is on the Dirt Beers podcast. We had Jack Lehner, Super Dirt Car Series driver, modified guy. We got the chance to ask him because I had some fans come up to me and ask about handicapping at Merrittville and why we do it. And I think I was talking about the Super Dirt Car Series with somebody, and they were like, honestly, the Super Dirt Car Series is at the point where they need handicapping. We were able to ask Jack about that, gave us a pretty good answer. I've seen that clip. I put that clip on social media. So if you have follow Dirt Beers on social media, you probably have seen it by now. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Follow Dirt Beers and make sure you're checking out that podcast as well, especially if you like hearing us talk World of Outlaws, Super Dirt Car Series, all that good stuff south of the border. But Beef, what's your stance on handicapping at the local level?
So at the local level, I handicapping has good and bad, but in my opinion, I think handicapping needs to go away. And here's why. So handicapping, I feel like really just punishes the guys that are fast and are fast on speed, just fast on having their car set up right, running good, and you're almost punishing them by making them start these heat races at the back and having to, even though they are good and they should be able to get to the front, what happens? Something happens and somebody totals a car, tears a front end out, and they're only back there because of the handicapping when they have the speed to be up front. That's more based off like time trials, but I'm saying local level. I'm saying leave the fate up to the draw. You draw, and where you draw is where you start in your heat, and you go from there. Leave it up to the powers that be. When you pull that popsicle stick or click that button, is where you're going to start in the heat race.
Yeah, and that's I can see that argument for sure. Um, you know, I don't want to like shoot myself in the foot because I'm on the other side. I am kind of pro handicapping at the local level. Um, but for me, I will say that I agree that handicapping definitely puts the fast cars at risk. You They get back in traffic. I think we've seen accidents already this season that probably happened because you had fast guys who were at the back of the pack and slower cars or drivers who are not used to leading a pack back to green who are at the front of the field and they jam everybody up. And but again, that's also on those guys who are buried back to be patient, and that in itself is a racing skill. So I see both sides of it there. But for me, the reason I think I am pro handicapping, at least at the local level, is because look at the great racing and the diversity that we're getting. You know, we know how fast that 37S is, right? If we had Gary Lindbergh starting at the front of the field every single week, I don't know if there'd be much of a battle just because I think the other thing too with clean racetrack, we've seen how much of a difference that makes. And it's like you don't really think about aero being a factor. And sometimes it's not even necessarily the aerodynamics of a race car that get affected. It's just the sheer fact that you have clean racetrack and you can go where you want to go and you can set your lineup and you can have the right visual before you get to lap traffic. And again, lap traffic can be a difference maker as well. But when you have a series or a division that's getting regularly on average 2 to 3 cautions, you're not really going to get enough laps green flag for lap traffic to be in make a difference in a lot of cases either. So I think there's something to be said about handicapping, and I think it's working at a lot of racetracks. Do I think it can get out of hand? Like, do I think Ryan Beagle should be starting 20th on a Friday night? I feel like that's maybe overkill, but to handicap 14 cars, even 16, I think that's not insane to do. And I don't think it's I can see the pros and the cons, but I think it I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I want to ask the fans if you're a fan and you're regularly attending a racetrack that has handicapping, whether it be in Southern Ontario or other places out there. What are your thoughts on it? Leave a comment on YouTube, comment on the Spotify video, reach out to us via social at SODS_POD at SODS_pod if you want to weigh in on the topic. You can even write to us via email, Southern Ontario Dirt Show at gmail.com is where you can do that. But for me, I'm pro handicapping, at least for now. I haven't seen enough things go wrong where I'm against it. I will say, though, as a fan, it's a lot easier to follow a straight up, like, timed hot laps, qualifying heats. Those heats either have a basic invert, like you take the whoever finishes first, they go to
Yeah.
fourth, whatever, something like that, or just giving them straight up. You win a heat, you're starting in the top 3, top 4, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Following that method is far easier, I will say, from a fan perspective. And even that sometimes, you know, with the introduction to gambling to dirt racing, I don't think it's that far away from somebody figuring it out how to bring it to the local level. And I think when you have that, I'm not sure that handicapping and gambling can go hand in hand anymore.
Yeah. I saw like, yeah, my stance is like, you with the draw, having the draw for your heat race. Some weeks Gary's gonna draw at the front of the heat race, and he's gonna win his heat race. He's gonna start at the front of the feature. But then there's gonna be those weeks where he draws shit, and he starts eighth in the heat or whatever the last place position is, depending on the amount of cars you got. And maybe he has that misfortune trying to come from the back, and then he's starting at the back of the feature. So I just feel like it's better to leave it up to the draw than it is to handicap these guys. And basically, this was something that we said when I was helping out Matt, is we could roll in at whatever 8:30 and unload the race car because we already knew exactly where we were starting in the feature. We didn't need to show up run hot laps. We didn't need to show up and run the heat race because we knew even if Matt came from the back of the heat race and won, you already knew he was starting 14th or 16th or whatever. So it was like, why even put the money into running and putting time on your motor, running fuel, tires to start the feature in the position you knew you were going to start the day before.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. Like I definitely understand that and see that angle all day long. I don't know if it puts on the best show, and at the end of the day it's an entertainment sport, and that's ultimately what's going to matter. And like I say, I think the only thing that could change that is the aspect of gambling, because how do you properly, speaking of handicapping, how do you properly give odds to a driver who is as fast as a Gary Lindbergh or as fast as a Nelson Mason or whoever, but they're constantly starting 14th, 12th, 10th, whatever it might be in a feature. Like how do you quantify that, right? How do you give the odds to that? I don't think you can. So, and it just comes down to a matter of fact of never mind OTB. I think we're literally going to be talking about at track betting one day at local tracks. I don't think it's that far away. I just don't know how stingent you have to be with the rules. I think there's a lot of things that go into it that I'm not even thinking about yet.
Yeah,
But I do think that is the future of dirt track racing and just racing in general at a local level, is
I think so
having an
too.
at the track betting booth.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna catch on. I mean, look at you can go to the horse race track and bet on horses live. Why can't you go to the dirt track and bet on race cars live?
Yeah, right. I mean, my race pass has a little fantasy option beforehand. If you're at Maryville Speedway and you have my race pass, you can do fantasy sports, but it doesn't really give you anything. There's no
Yeah,
incentive to do it other than just fun, or maybe you can bet your buddy and see who finishes higher that night, kind of thing.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll be kind of what changes it. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on if you're pro or against handicapping in local dirt racing. Something else I wanted to do, Beef, before we get out of here. I want to talk about Cody McPherson's going for 7 in a row this weekend. Lucky 7 for the 7. We'll see how it plays out. I don't want to jinx him already, but what if we do a little 3-round mini draft here? A little 3-round draft. You take 3 guys, I take 3 guys for who is going to be the first driver to beat Cody McPherson at Maryville Speedway this season.
Okay, who's going first?
You know what? I'm like, do I even have a coin? I'm like, well, I can't keep giving you the first
Uh,
pick every time because you always get somebody.
I
Uh,
don't have a coin.
I got a guitar pick here.
Okay,
One side has head has writing on it. We'll call that
okay,
heads, and
okay.
then the other side that's blank has we'll call that tails. So,
Tails. Okay.
what do you want? Heads or tails?
I'll take heads.
Okay, it is. As I rip my headphone jack out, it is tails. We got the blank side, so I
You go
get first pick
first.
for once.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
I'm gonna get my headphones set back up here. Rip that cord right out. That should be an entertaining watch on the YouTube video. Um, So I got to take a sportsman driver who I think is most likely to beat Cody McPherson at Merrittville Speedway. Let me go to the points here. You know what?
Yeah, I need to pull up, but
I got to take him because he's second in points. Give me Jacob Chevalier to do it. He finished second to him last time out for the sportsman. Why not? I think Jacob can do it, get his first career win, and beat Cody. he could be the first one to beat Cody at some point this season.
Okay. Hold on, I'm just pulling up the list here.
I think one of your buddies is gonna be real pissed if you don't pick him
Well, I
first.
mean, I was gonna pick him anyways, so beat him twice last year. Give me Tyler Petrolsky.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, one of us is
That was
gonna
gonna
have
be
to take Tyler, but
that was gonna be one of my picks, but I was like gonna make him wait till the end. But yeah, give me Tyler off the bat, I guess.
all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what? This guy's been kind of quiet this season, but I feel like he's kind of hanging around. And if he gets the right track position, maybe something happens here where he can put it together. Hasn't started all the races yet this season, but I think really could be the guy to do it. Give me Mitch Dumont. You wanted him, eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, Mitch. I was trying to get you, buddy. Okay. Then my second pick, I'm gonna take him, even though sometimes he really wrecks a lot of shit. But give me Billy Bleach.
Yeah, you know what? Billy, like he's so due. Like he's
Yeah.
just so due, man. Like
He's fast, but sometimes he just gets in real bad situations. But he definitely has the speed, I feel like, to beat Cody.
yeah, and it's not even like everything's always his fault either necessarily
Yeah.
either. He just finds himself in these situations, and man, I feel like that 108 is due. That's not a bad pick. I don't hate that pick. Where do I go here? I'm like, maybe we could have made this a 4-round draft, but so I've got Chevalier, I've got Dumont. I'm gonna round out my pick with you know what? Give me the 5S. This might be low hanging fruit considering he's third in points, but I've really liked what I've seen out of Matt Sharp this year. I think he's shown that he can hold his own at the front of the field. I think there's been a couple of races where he's been tasked with trying to hold off Cody, and he's been able to do it for a couple laps, but not quite for the full thing to get the win. And I just feel like maybe if he finds himself in the right situation, maybe it's Matt Sharp could be the first one to break through and be the first winner other than Cody McPherson.
Okay. Well, I got my last pick. I'm going to take him. He's definitely had speed. Maybe not the most in the recent weeks, but give me the 74 Taylor Van Der Zand.
Oh, nice. The old K1 Speed 74, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's really funny because I was hoping you weren't going to pick him, and then I'd be like, oh, let's go one more round. But let's leave it there. Let's leave it at the 3. So I took Chevalier, Dumont, and Sharp, and you've got Pachalski, Bleach, and Van Der Zanden to be the drivers to who we think are going to be the ones to beat Cody McPherson first, and will be the first drivers to win a race at Maryville Speedway in the Sportsman other than Cody McPherson. We'll see if that happens sometime down the line here. And I think, does that cover everything we wanted to get into? I think that
I think so,
was
yeah.
I think that was everything, right? So
Yep.
all right, let's park it there then. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for all the engagement. That's how this show grows, by the way. A lot of people talk about, word of mouth and sending this around to friends. That's great and all. But just in general, sharing the podcast is the new word of mouth. So posting it on your social media, posting clips, responding in the comments, all that sort of stuff helps this thing grow. And we super appreciate it because we super love and appreciate the great racing scene that we have here in Southern Ontario. And hopefully everybody in the Niagara region and beyond enjoys this show. And Beef, what do we get into on this week's Dirt Beers? Because we got busy. We had 2 episodes we recorded this week, but only one of them's coming out on Friday.
We recorded 2 episodes this week. First one coming out is going to be with High Limit announcer Chase Rodman coming out this Friday. Got to talk with Chase about everything from being behind the mic for the first time to life on the road with High Limit. And we talked a little bit about the High Limit Outlaw Beef. Was there actually some stuff going on, or was it all just smoke and mirrors? But definitely a good episode. And we just actually got off with Ryan Timms, winning sprint car driver in 360 and 410 division. Got to talk to him about everything he's done in his racing career so far, and that'll be coming out the following Friday for the dual holiday week for us, Canada Day, and for the States, it'll be July 4th. So, uh, yeah, looking forward to when those come out. And it was awesome to get to talk to those guys.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens next week in terms of if we're going to get any recordings done.
Yeah.
Might be an off week with the holidays for Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. We'll see on that one. Not going to make any promises, but if we are posting an episode, we might actually have one I've been waiting to do here, Beef. I haven't done it yet, but I really want to open things up and have like a fan question episode. So maybe we'll start getting some fan questions in. If you want to email those in now, you can. Southern Ontario Dirt Show at gmail.com. That's where you can do that. I'll put a couple links out on social media probably next week, and we'll maybe take some fan questions about Merrittville, about Oshweekin, about Ransomville. If there's other tracks you want us to talk about or have a look at, Brighton, South Buxton, whatever it might be, we can talk about those as well. And again, appreciate it. Thanks for joining me, Beef. Thanks to everybody who listened at Jonathon on Air. That's where you're going to find me on the socials for all things radio and other podcasting stuff. At SODS_POD is where you keep up with all things Southern Ontario Dirt Show on the socials. And we'll talk to you next time.